What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Week 5, Dave and Dan. How is your week going? How did last week go? We got some bye weeks this week. We have some awful games to look forward to. And hopefully we can provide, a similar brand of entertainment that we've had the last couple of episodes. Are people going to be digging up messages in the jungle asking you to take the Giants money line? Maybe not, but I have prepared a couple things for you here. Dave, how's it going? Welcome back. Week 5. Hopefully week 4 treated you pretty well. I mentioned to you last week, sometimes when you start off the season saying Marvin Harrison Jr. is the guy that you want, and then you see how things go the first couple of weeks, you're really not feeling so great about your year. Didn't set you up. Not the best premonition when you're watching Marvin Harrison. And then when you watch the first half of that Thursday night game, let's just say you're not feeling any better about yourself. But as I mentioned at the end of last week, it's a long season, and that game could be a microcosm of things to come for me, where it started not so nice. And then, who knows? Big second half for Marvin Harrison. Great touchdown. Maybe that leads him on to better things, and maybe I'll be on to better things, because that wasn't the case on Sunday if you happen to watch those New York Giants. Because as it turns out, Ladd McConkey is being compared to as, this year's Hunter Renfrow, where he had this big 1 year, and now he's just the third most important white guy running around out there for the Chargers. It was even worse than the previous game. His target share went down. He had multiple drops. Not looking good in terms of my buy low candidates for last week. What did you happen to think about what the hell happened in that game?
I liked him too. I mean, it felt like a spot where he'd get back on track. It doesn't always happen. Not only that though, he had a couple really big drops too, which is concerning. It wasn't just that he wasn't targeted. You had some instances where Ladd McConkey just flat out dropped the ball on multiple occasions. Like on some sites, he's credited with 3 drops on the day. That's just not, you can't do that when you have a sure-handed Keenan Allen and a guy in Quentin Johnston who's, beating top corners as we saw in week 3 down the sidelines. Like and now you have Amari and Hampton. Not to mention, they're 60% of their projected starting offensive line going into the season is now hurt. So that's not good either.
It's no surprise that the overwhelming majority of social media is not so nice, not so great. You don't see many great things. It seems like the perils and evils of social media quite often outweigh the positive benefits. But there are positive benefits. Let's not lose track of that. Because one of the best things about having social media is when you're in any situation. It could be me with Ladd McConkey. It could be you with whoever may have screwed you at any point. It could be a fantasy player who you're wondering, what the hell's happening? Why is he not getting any snaps? One of the best parts about social media is you can immediately find more people who are in your same level of pain. When you search on Twitter, X, for your insert guy who screwed you, you come across many things that they make you feel at least a little bit better about yourself. Like, am I the only one who's losing it over Ladd McConkey? That's where I was looking for Ladd McConkey. I'm going to start you with a little series here that I happen to enjoy. This is like, your 101, have a slight chuckle. Like, I'll put this in the, Dave's kind of dad joke region of Ladd McConkey when I draft him, showing an armless man up there. Then we're going to go to Stage 2, Darren Waller has outscored Ladd McConkey in their last 3 games. Waller debuted tonight in week 4. And then my personal favorite that made me deal with it all right. Turn around and let me see Ladd McConkey, indicating that Ladd McConkey was straight up ass, a theme that we'll be revisiting shortly. But this one right here got me pretty good. Turn around and let me see Ladd McConkey, because that's exactly what he was to me and anybody else who may have taken that ladder at least like I did. And do you think it's going to get any better for him, or he's just in the bunkers now?
It will, and it's going to be when nobody bets it. Like that's just the way the guy's too talented to not be involved anymore. But yeah, it's pretty evident after 4 weeks. This isn't going to be the same role as last year. And it's not just Keenan Allen either. Like they have a run game, number one. Again, I don't know how well it's going to, I don't know if Becton's going to be back this week after the concussion. Slater went down before the season started. Joe Alt is out now several weeks. That's not good. They face Washington this week, but also it's not just that like Quentin Johnston is still there, Andy. It's that Quentin Johnston has clearly taken 15 steps forward since last year, right? Remember, everyone was labeling him a bust after his first season. People tend to forget that just because, like, and I know this was the following season, but just because Brian Thomas and Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers and Malik Neighbors all had dominant rookie seasons, that's not like standard for most rookies. It's just not. So, like, oh man, Marvin Harrison underwhelmed as a rookie. Dude had 900 yards in the regular season. You know, it's that Johnston got better. It's that Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert have a legitimately intact rapport despite spending a season away from each other. So, yeah, he's going to have games, but he's just clearly not the number one anymore. And he probably, look, maybe the jury's still out. It feels like he is no longer the number one, and he's probably not the number two.
Yeah, okay, so Hunter Renfrow it is. I wasn't the only one who was upset. There were plenty of people. Every week there are tons of reasons to be upset. And there was somebody we were all waiting for. We were all waiting for it. And by we all, it was me just waiting. I'm like, he has to be saying something. We closed last week talking about our favorite 98 degrees. Remember, Nick Lachey losing it over the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, did you happen to catch any of that Bengals game on Monday night, Dave?
Yeah, man. I had that's why I have the two back there. For one, I had one for the one game, one for the other. Typically it's Eagles and red zone, but yeah, I caught some of it and it didn't go. I mean, it went honestly exactly how you would expect it to go in Denver. It's exactly how you would expect it to go. So when I saw Nick Lachey, when you pulled him up last week, and I saw this sentiment, I mentioned this in my picks for every game video over on the Odd Shopper channel. Appreciate all you guys who watched that. I was like, I don't know. And then, by the way, I took Bengals plus 10 against the Lions this week, so this may sound counterintuitive, but it's good. 10-point home favorites, like whatever. We'll talk about it.
It's always well merited. We'll get to that because there was a double digit last week. We'll get to that.
We'll talk about it. But I what I mentioned was I don't know where this idea was that the masses assumed, hey, Jake Browning's not that bad. It's like, okay, fine. He acquitted himself relatively well when Burrow was out before, but I don't know really who could be good behind that offensive line right now. It's not like only Joe Burrow, probably.
To me, it is if you watch the beginning of that game, they go down, they get 3 points. Their very next drive, he throws a 40-yard pass to T. Higgins.
Beautiful cut.
They're on their side of the field now. So that would have been 2 straight drives coming away with points. An unnecessary penalty on the offensive line, some sort of late illegal shift, followed by another false start. A dozen penalties in the first half, not a dozen accepted. But when you have a backup in there, any sort of good coach has this team ready. Like, we cannot beat ourselves. The only way we can win is not beat the Bengals for years now. When they lost that AFC championship game because that guy couldn't stop himself from hitting Patrick Mahomes late. And I know Mahomes dives this, that, and the other, but he just couldn't even stop himself. How Joe Burrow literally had to yell at his coach to care more about the stupid penalties that they were taking. Brutal coaching. And I found myself getting so angry that they weren't giving themselves a chance to win. And I'm like, Lachey's got to be thinking this. So I took myself over to Lachey's profile, and I don't know if he had to film one of those scam Netflix shows, but I got nothing from Nick Lachey, and that disappointed me. But sometimes in life, if that girl doesn't text you back right away, don't check in first, because then you're going to lose some of that leverage. Just give it an extra 24 hours, and eventually Lachey is going to show show himself waiting a full 24 hours. This was not during the game, not after the game. This was on Wednesday. So somebody had tweeted, this is an embarrassment, pure and simple. And then finally he comes out. Sad but true. We were exposed with Joe in there. We're a laughing stock now. All the money invested on offense, and we can't protect the one man it all depends on. Massive change needs to happen. Total mismanagement. I'd say that's even relatively laid back for Lachey.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called like the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? And it shows like the psychology of a market cycle, right? Where it starts off, you have the hope. I just pulled it up too. Optimism, belief, thrill, and then euphoria is at the top. Then there's complacency as the market starts to come down. People use this in like crypto trading as well. Anxiety, denial, and then at the very bottom, right, you have like the anger and the depression and just the pure capitulation. Okay. And then disbelief is when it starts to trend back up because you just, at this point, you've capitulated, you are depressed, you are past the stage of anger. I fear that soon Nick Lachey will be in that state where it'll no longer be, it'll be maybe a sentence next week, and then maybe just like a fuck the week after that. And then fire Zach Taylor, and then just radio silence for the rest of the season. And then what happens is Joe Burrow comes back next year and they win a couple games, but they refuse to buy in. Right now at this point, they're cynical. It's the disbelief phase, Andy, because any moment Joe Burrow is going to go down with another season-ending injury. Any moment this defense is going to unravel. So they're going to end up going 12-5, and he won't get to enjoy a single second of that season because he still is in disbelief that things are going well and will continue to go well. I'm predicting it right now. That is the timeline for Nick Lachey in the coming year, calendar year.
Yeah, that we call that the full bane. We will feed the people hope so that we can poison their souls. That's what's coming for Nick Lachey next year. The Fed hope, 12 wins, great year, but he won't be able to enjoy it. Kind of like Tyreek Hill enjoyed that ambulance ride over to the hospital, which is kind of a crazy timeline of where we're at now, the type of world we're living, where somebody on the Miami highway is able to take their phone and get video of Tyreek Hill, who, I'm assuming he didn't know he was being filmed, literally just laughing on his way after the most gruesome injury. What was this Joker-esque attitude where he immediately was laughing as he was being carted off and on the way to the hospital?
I think it's obvious, man. I think it's a combination of adrenaline and, hey, if I could have found the way out the back door, it wouldn't have been shattering my leg. But now that it happened, this ain't all that bad. I'm still going to get paid. I mean, honestly, in my mind, like he from the hospital bed, he's like, hey, about to go in for surgery. It's all good. Everything's okay around here. I'm thinking, dude's still going to get paid. I don't know how it works contractually, but like he's still going to get paid. He didn't want to be there. They weren't going anywhere this season. Yeah, you busted your knee up. That blows. Maybe you retire after this, filthy rich. They're like, am I obviously just, is this just a guess? Of course, but to be that happy. And like, again, maybe some of it's just shock. Maybe some of it's adrenaline, whatever it may be. But I think there was some sprinkle of like, well, this isn't how I wanted it to happen, but I want it out. And now I'm out.
Could there be a little CTE at play there? A little kookiness?
It's possible. He's always kind of been eccentric, though,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should ask somebody who knows a thing or two about that and what Tyreek Hill was thinking on the way there. And that is none other than Antonio Brown, who uploaded the hospital staff after treating Tyreek Hill and obviously a bunch of pregnant women. I don't know where you stand on the AB Twitter, but it's pretty damn funny sometimes.
Oh, it's good. I mean, he just takes posts from other people, but it's still funny. Is he? I mean, maybe he has some original ones. Most of the ones I've seen he reposts, but he's got a big platform and it's funny. And is he naked in his avatar, in his profile?
No, I zoomed in to make sure. It's it's just football pants, but it looks like that when it's all spray painted the same color. I
That's
guess
football
that's
pants?
intentional. Or I zoomed in, it's 100%. There's no junk.
Dude, from
there.
back here, it looks like a big old nut sack.
That's what I thought, and why I wasn't going to use the screenshot, but then I zoomed in because I make these on my phone. I'm like, no, it's not that. It's fine. Pull it up and zoom in. Make sure that I was correct.
Right, that's crazy. It's just a bronze statue. But from here, and I would imagine the audience would agree, that could trick you a little bit. But I'm glad you zoomed in and inspected it for all of us.
Hey, look, I have to do the dirty work for you guys sometimes. If I'm going to be pulling up some graphics, I unfortunately have to do the unnecessary/necessary task of zooming in on Antonio Brown's junk. It's been a while since we talked about another situation, one that we confronted many times, one that always stirs up the people who watch this, stirs up the people who watch everything. That brings us to this Tucker Kraft touchdown, and they came out. The rigged crowd came out. They kept things bottled up all game. When I say people search things to make themselves feel better, it's not just me with McConkey. You got Ravishing Rick Rude bets here. He searched Tucker Kraft touchdown, and that's where he realized that it must have been rigged to make sure that people lose money. Yeah. And then you had something that you commented on, that college football play.
Oh, this was amazing. I'm glad you saw this. Thank you.
I'll let you explain it.
So it was Indiana, Iowa. I didn't watch the game, but I had seen the replay of this. And this guy's saying, if you got Indiana early in the week, a push seemed highly likely until this. Mind you, by the time this went off, it was nowhere near 7. I know this because I do shows with Ben Rasa. And he's a big college football bettor. And he's like, no, dude, it wasn't even close to 7 by the time it closed. So what happened is it's actually the same thing. If you saw what the Eagles did with the punt to close out that game last week against Tampa, same thing, run into the end zone. I don't remember if he took the safety in the Eagles game, but either way,
he just ran directly out the back of the end zone. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there you go. This one, quarterback for Indiana runs it out into the end zone and takes a safety. And what would have been a 7-point game is now a 5-point game. Andy, the problem here is that when I said the cognitive dissonance in these people has become so extreme, they've forgotten the people that people can bet the other sides of these games, and they won that bet. These people largely believe the rigged crowd that the only side of the bet that anyone bet was their side of the bet, which I can't wrap my head around that. It's like, yeah, that's a terrible beat. I get it. But are you telling me there was so much money on an opening line for Indiana, not the closing line, the opening line for Indiana, that they needed to rig it in the opposite direction? I mean, it makes no sense. It truly. And then people are going, well, why didn't he just go down at the 5 or the 10? The clock had already expired. He's not looking at the clock. He's not looking at the clock. So it just, I don't know.
They just believe they're the only ones who bet on that. They're on the only side of the bet, and they forget that there is a small percentage of people who bet on the other side. And those are the people who believe in infestations, like the bees that I have on the side of my house. Well, it also happened in the NFL on Sunday. I know last week somebody got at me. I was like, I got to prep these things. I got to zoom on Antonio Brown's cock. So there's only so much prep I can do, only so many screenshots I can. You woke me up now. Here, they claimed you used a different screenshot from week to week. I don't give a rat's ass. All I give you now are the exact picks that I put on last week, showed you which ones were this is the same screenshot, and I added the rats. Look at the most heavily bet games on here. Everybody on those charges.
That you used handle for the one instead of tickets?
No, so just when I prep for this show, I just try to do one big scroll because I'm following enough accounts where I can get the info that I need. So last week I happened to see those big red X's. I'm like, wow, look how many favorites. Yeah. I didn't even realize it was handle till we had it up there. It wasn't the same exact screenshot from the previous week. I was just trying to illustrate people are losing. Look at all those red X's. But now if you ask for the exact screenshot we put up last week, look at the most heavily bet games. The top 5, you're going 1-4. I, once again, am not telling you to bet the Rats. I told you my pH balance theory. Like, okay, this week's all Rats. Maybe this is flipped the next week. It's going to be flipped in enough directions where no matter how many times you put in that parlay, when you're betting those front page pizzeria bets and you're just putting in spread, they really are. Biff Tannen from Back to the Future 2, the rich evil one, is having a really good laugh at you. I can assure you that this is not the reaction you're going to be getting when you put in your 7, 10, 15 leg money line or spread parlays. All right, that's not what you're going to be getting.
Yeah, of course. Look, some of them are going to win, but also, there's another element to this too, Andy. If you want to go back and show that screenshot again,
I can't understand why I like this girl. Like I don't know how there is a class of women that make the rounds. Like this isn't some Megan Fox supermodel. There's something I like about this girl, and there are other ones like it. I don't know what to call them. It's like the cut below. It's someone that you can see out hot, not so hot that you're not even going to be in the same realm as them. This girl's drinking on a sidewalk in New York City. Is that a plastic cup?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say you can zoom in on her all you want. Get Antonio Brown out of here. I have a theory on this, like. The ones that are like this idealistic hot, right? That's kind of force fed to us. They're far less hot, in my opinion, than the tier right below them. Like the I don't even want to say slightly flawed tier, because there's nothing flawed about that. But you know what I mean? Like maybe not the marketable tier. That's the tier I'm looking for, man. If I wasn't a married man.
I think in our egotistical minds, we believe, if I had a day, me and this girl would be hanging out. But you throw Megan Fox up there, I think me and you are like, you rats. So I think that's part of the allure.
But give me that over Megan Fox. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you get no Megan Fox. You just get an infestation of rats that we saw last week.
Yeah, Megan Fox isn't really Megan Fox anymore. But anyway, you look at some of these games, and man, I'll tell you what. That Chiefs game, right before it started, I said to myself, I was like, I should have bet the Chiefs. I just had this instinctual gut feeling. The Chiefs are not dropping to 1-3. Like it's just not at home, not going to happen. And I know Lamar got hurt, but it was already like Chiefs were winning that football game, And then you see 75% of tickets on Ravens. It's like, man. That's a miss. But some of these, like you look at the Commanders, that was Falcons +3 at one point. Falcons coming off a brutal loss. No one wants to play the Falcons in a spot where you should want to play the Falcons. Seahawks was +1.5. It closed at -1.5. Packers, listen, Dak Prescott at home can do crazy stuff. And he typically does. Like Dak Prescott at home, I hate betting against him. And I know last year there were some weird games. I think they played the Saints and the Ravens and got smoked at home in both of those early in the year. But yeah, man. And then how about how about that Chargers game? You just, at no point were they really all that competitive. And Marion Hampton had that big run, that big play. Aside from that, it was by far the worst game they've played. So
maybe this is what did it. Maybe. And I don't know where Madison Beer falls on your tier of attainable versus Megan Fox. Something tells me she's a little closer to that Megan Fox tier, but I don't know.
No, Justin Herbert, I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this was it. Many thought like, now they're really going to catch a beating, but it just truly goes to show you week to week. Look what the Cowboys did to that Giants defense. And then look how successful the Chargers were. They lost many offensive linemen, but still, if I were to tell you that it's going to be a rookie quarterback's first start and they're going to lose Malik Neighbors for the majority of the game, how can this happen? And it's very easy how this can happen. This is the standard NFL rat factor. I always say the worst team in the league can beat one of the best teams. And I always go back to your undefeated Eagles losing to Sam Howell, or was it Sam Howell? No, it wasn't. It was, who was that guy who he ended up, Heineke, Taylor Heineke on like a Thursday night, beat the undefeated Eagles when the Redskins, I think it was at the time, were awful.
Yep. They ran the ball like 45 times in that game. I remember that. By the way, these antics from this kid, call me old, call me cynical. He's going to get punished, man. I'm telling you. That type of stuff, it's not a good idea.
I'm going to sound like a real, you know, Bon Jovi said you give love a bad name. I want to give curmudgeons a good name. I'm going to sound like an old curmudgeon many times today. The first being this kid, this Jackson Dart. I mean, everything from the hair, the chains, doing the chicken wing. Like, it's funny. This guy trying to run out there and like lower his shoulder, like this is going to be a sustainable style of playing quarterback. He's just he's running around like a jackal. He is another one of these new school quarterbacks who's never going to be able to do what you saw Matthew Stafford do to manipulate that defense and throw that body positioned pass to Adams, which is true quarterbacking. Matthew Stafford used to be considered like the 12th best quarterback in the league by virtue of other kings dying. He now is in the royal class. So with that said, let's bring up this week's, the week 5 early donkey charts, where you once again are seeing a very high percentage of bet. I mean, I don't know if we've ever seen 90% before, but now we're seeing 90% on none other than the game that you were talking about. So if you want to talk about being on the right side, wrong side, I don't care what the hell happened with the Bengals last week. You show me 90% of the people at your local bar on something, I'm going the absolute other direction. So
you have to, Andy. You have to. 90%. That, by the way, I think that's the biggest number we've seen all season. I'm pretty sure we have not seen a number come close to that. 90% is a remarkably high number. It moved through 10 to 10.5. Listen, man, it's ugly and you don't want to do it and it feels disgusting. And maybe they lose by 50, but you know, losing by 11 and 50 is the exact same thing when you're placing a bet, right? Same thing as losing by 10 or winning this game outright if you're the Bengals. It doesn't make a difference. You win the bet or you lose the bet. You don't win more for being more right or lose more for being more wrong. Yeah, that's an insane number. 90% of bets on the Lions, man. That's crazy.
yeah, and what I'll say is typically if you follow the, you got embarrassed on a primetime game formula, just bet on that team the following week, you do pretty well. Typically, if you take double-digit underdogs, you also do pretty well. To me, I don't have to think about this. If they cover, they cover, but you see so frequently how often this happens. Also, those were two of the worst situations that you could throw Jake Browning into with that offensive line. On the road at Denver, also against Minnesota on the road, 2 road games. They're finally coming home. I believe a couple cornerbacks are going to be out for the Detroit Lions. I mean, to get 10.5 points at home is insane, but I get the trepidation. But like I said, I never tell you to bet them, but if you're in your office pool, those are the types of picks that will get you ahead when everyone's just hitting that chalky 10.5 on the Lions. What I find very funny is many of these teams were kind of on the opposite side. Like everyone thought they were garbage. I mean, everyone was betting against the Chiefs last week. Everybody was betting against the Cowboys last week when they were taking the Packers. Everybody was betting against the Giants last week. And now here they are. This is everybody chasing the week-to-week tail. Meanwhile, like, I saw the Giants. They beat the Chargers. I put so much money in the Chargers. I lost, but I saw the Giants. They look great against the Chargers. I'm going to bet on them. Watch them lose outright in New Orleans. This is the madness of betting on NFL spreads. It can easily happen. So we got the Cowboys -2.5. Who are they up against this week?
Yeah, I want to talk about this one. Cowboys got the Jets. I grabbed the Jets at +3 as well. And I got to tell you, the Jets should have won that game against Miami. Should have won that. By the way, Andy, we hit a nice one, little same game parlay, boosted to +872. Andy's kind enough to put the link to Tails to my free picks down there in the description. Everything's free. Just take a second, create a free account, sign up, follow me, follow anybody else. We're building an awesome platform. We just launched a leaderboard on there as well. So yeah, come check that out. I had that up there on Monday, and we got there on the Garrett Wilson touchdown because we needed the over and we needed the game and we needed the over on Garrett Wilson yards. Hits it in the same play, and then I think he's going to lose it on the final play of the game when he runs into the end zone. But we'll take it, man. When things go well, you just appreciate them and you keep moving until they don't anymore. But the Jets, if you watch some of that game, they had it was either 10 penalties for 113 or 13 penalties for 110. They lost 3 fumbles in the game as well, one of which was a Braylon Allen fumble at the goal line. They should have won that game. They outgained the Miami Dolphins 404 yards to 300. They ran for almost 200 yards on the ground with a combination of guys, not just Fields. Everyone was moving the ball on the ground, including Allen before he went out with that injury. So, yeah, I think the Jets, I mean, if you don't fix the miscues, if you don't know how to line up at the line of scrimmage, if you don't know how to run 3 consecutive plays without a penalty, it's never going to work. But if Aaron Glenn doesn't fix it this week, his time as a head coach is going to be short-lived. I like the Jets this week. There's 2 teams I'm always a sucker on. It's the Browns, who we've actually done quite well with this year, and it's the Jets. So on brand, I'll go back to the Jets at home here. I simply don't buy into this Cowboys team, Andy, and I think their defense is genuinely terrible.
Kind of just take the same exact thing that I applied to the Bengals. Dallas probably played the best game. They put up all those points without CeeDee Lamb, without a couple of offensive linemen, against the vaunted Green Bay Packers defense, the one that was, this is going to be an undefeated team. The Lions can't move the ball, can't get a first down. Nobody can do anything against them. They put 40 points up against that defense in a primetime game when everybody's watching. The Jets lose or 0-4. So many of these are classics. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants lose outright. Yeah, outright in New Orleans, where they are completely different. Now, not to the Drew Brees level in terms of on the home and on the road. But when you're seeing New Orleans play on the road, we called them getting absolutely destroyed. They actually played all right against the Bills. But then at home, they lost both of those first 2 games essentially on fourth quarter drives. They've been very close. Now that they're playing a pretty bad team, a team that was winless. And yeah, you get in the NHL, I always call it the free win when you have a new coach. Oh, you fired your coach midseason, everyone gets the free win in that first game. They got the quarterback change free win when they changed to everybody was pumped. Everyone played above their heads. Scadaboo's running through walls. Now it's okay, we got that win. Let's play football, get another win. The standard level of effort for the Giants is not going to cut it. And there's going to be no neighbors. Jackson Dart, he was struggling throwing the ball. Watch this guy have to leave at halftime because he tried to truck somebody in the open field once again.
Yeah, I like the Saints. To all of your points there, they ran for almost 200 yards in Buffalo last week. I'm not saying it's a good team, but the absence of Malik Neighbors cannot be overstated. You can't. Who do you have now? You have guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, right, and Theo Johnson and Darius Slayton. No true legitimate field stretchers. They're going to probably take some shots to Slayton, but it's not enough. I'm not convinced, and I think people love. Again, Andy, it's an overreaction too. People love that Jackson Dart came in and they got the win over the 6-point favorite Chargers, who were undefeated coming into that game. It's just if you were to ask me, will the Giants be on here? Without hesitation would have said, of course they'll be on here. Everybody wants to bet the Giants this week.
Do you want to know why I'm really not excited for this week for the most part? Because take a look at some of these games that are on this slate. And I'm going to borrow a quote from the Tennessee Titans quarterback. If we keepin' it a buck, we ass. And he actually wasn't talking about the Tennessee Titans. He was talking about essentially every quarterback on this Sunday slate. You guys know I've been very critical of this new crop of quarterbacks. And basically, when I was watching the Steelers-Minnesota game, I put out there, it's interesting how the vaunted Vikings defense doesn't work so much when they have to play quarterbacks who can read the line of scrimmage, like Goff last year, like Stafford last year, like even Rodgers, how he was handling all those pressures and fronts with no problem. But now I just wanted you to look. I don't know if you could see those games, Dave.
Yeah, I got him.
How about you just say out loud the quarterbacks for each team that you see on the screen right now. This is who everyone's going to be treated to this Sunday.
For sure. And for anyone who's curious, what Ken Ward meant was if we're being honest, we are not a good football team. In case. All right. So Carson Wentz.
Well, Drew Brees used to have similar quotes, right? After they were struggling. If we keeping it a buck, we ass.
Yeah, right. That is. I think that's where Ken Ward got it from. Carson Wentz, Dylan Gabriel, Geno the interception machine Smith, Daniel Jones. I'm buying into the Colts though. I like this Colts team.
That's fine, but it's still Daniel Jones. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. Jackson Dart, Spencer Rattler, C.J. Stroud, probably Cooper Rush, Tua Tagovailoa, Bryce Young, Cam Ward, and Kyler Murray. And by the way, Trey Benson's on the IR now too. So there's another decent player who will not be playing this week. Yeah, it's not great.
I'm happy hockey's starting next week when I see a slate like this because a lot of trash this weekend. When you add the fact that there are buys, a couple good teams are off to the side. It's kind of slim pickings this weekend, Dave. I don't know. This doesn't look like the most appealing week to me. Look, most player props aren't out right now as we're recording this week's video nice and early, but not very excited for this week. I will tell you that.
It's not great. I do like the Saints. There's a lot of 1.5s out there. We bet the Colts. I threw that one over on tails at -6.5. That's 7. There's probably some 6.5 still out there. I don't hate the Panthers here, quite frankly, but there's 2 spots I don't mind. Later games, I like the Patriots +8.5 against the Bills. Andy, I'm beginning to come around on this team. I think they're actually not a pretty decent football team. You have Gonzalez back, shake the rust off last week, easy enough, only had to play half the game in a blowout. You could see that one coming from a mile away after Carolina was coming off a blowout win against Atlanta. You have a pretty good run defense, a run game right now that looks good, between Henderson and Stevenson, even Gibson mixed in as well. Was hoping we got more Henderson last week. Stephon Diggs had the breakout game. Drake May looks like the real deal. And I'll say it again. I think I mentioned it last week here, and a bunch of my videos is on top of that, but they should have beat Pittsburgh by 2 scores, honestly. Like, they turned the ball over 5 times, just death by 1,000 paper cuts, self-inflicted wounds. That's what happened. And I look at him and I think that's a pretty good team. And Buffalo's got a big weakness on run defense. Really, they almost allowed 200 rushing yards to the New Orleans Saints. Will Milano and Ed Oliver be back? I don't know, but they've got a bunch of injuries on that defense. Obviously, Buffalo is going to score a lot of points, and I love Buffalo. They're the best team in football, I think, alongside the Eagles. But I kind of 8.5 points is a lot on the Patriots. It's a lot.
It's a funny conundrum with this damn run defense because if you think back to when we took Breece Hall against them, it's like a catch-22. If you stay close or you're playing from ahead, you're going to gash them.
Yep.
Like, as you saw, I mean, that offensive line's not doing much for the Ravens. Henry went for 200 yards against them, but they were playing from ahead. Then when Buffalo gets up by 2 touchdowns and you abandon the run, it could really make your play look stupid.
You're right.
But your boy Kendre Miller went off, and I'm feeling good about that deep league now. I mean, they gave him a ton of work, way more than people were expecting. But regardless, they stayed close enough in that game where him and Kamara were able to continue to run rather than being down 3 touchdowns, and then you're just hoping for check downs and it's just throw it for the rest of the game. So this is a matter of what's the score going to be in this game? If it's within 1 score, I bet you those Patriots running backs are going to continue to get work because, I mean, let's be honest, that's what Vrabel wants to do in the first place. Now, I don't know where you fall on this, But many of these games, like I have a friend, he goes, "What'd you bet?" "Oh yeah, I'll bet that too." And the game has already started. I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
He always thinks whatever your favorite bet is, you haven't bet it at the right time. He thinks there's a time in the game that's the most opportune time for that bet. So, like, for example, what I'm going to say here is I think if the Bills go up quickly like they did against the Jets, then these Patriots receivers who are going to have bottom of the barrel totals, you can look at Diggs or Booty or Hunter Henry because you know they're going to have to throw way more than they want to, or May rushing yard, whatever it may be. And this is one of those games. Just show me what the tone is on the first drive or two. Is it like that New Orleans game where, it's going to be one of those kind of mail-in performances from the Bills? I feel like if I see it's going to be close, I want to go high on those Patriots running backs. If the Bills feel like, really giving their A effort after, one that was way too close last week, and they just kind of stomp them like they did the Jets, then give me some of those Patriots receivers. You get what I'm saying on that? Like, try feel out the game.
I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, live betting can be really profitable. Sure. No issues with that. If you wanted to wait on a game like this, I could see it. It's a weird divisional spot. Patriots coming off a blowout win. Bills coming off kind of a close game against the Saints where I think they tried the Philly special and got picked off. But
yeah,
I get that. I'm okay with it. Sure. There's another spot I don't mind, but I want your thoughts on this game. I like the Chiefs this week, man. And I mentioned last week, like, hey, I'm on the Jaguars. This San Francisco team, despite going into that game 3-0, like they have problems. All right.
They're a scam. They could have been 0-3.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, it really does. And they'll find ways to fight because of Kyle Shanahan. They're 7-point dogs against the Rams now, opened at 5.5 earlier in the week.
Well, it's because they need you to play wide receiver.
Seriously. I mean, it's rough. And I think it's Mac Jones now, too, which I really don't even think is a big downgrade from Brock Purdy. But, you look at this Kansas City team, very good defense. I mean, this defense, despite all of the offensive struggles, this is still a very good defense. Jags are going to have a tough time running the ball. The offense is not clicked, and there's still some type of missing chemistry between Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. If that continues again, and now that Xavier Worthy's back, this kind of just feels like the spot where the Chiefs walk away with another touchdown or 10-point victory, and you're like, hey, they're back.
I think I got the Chiefs down now. I think I see what their plan is. Interesting to me, not just because the running backs were struggling, but it was interesting that Brashard Smith hardly got anything those first couple of weeks, right? They were lacking dynamic playmakers. People were calling, get this guy out there, get him in space. He's a dynamic type of player. We didn't see much from him. And then I found it real funny that only when Xavier Worthy was reintroduced into the game plan, all of a sudden, using Brashard Smith in motion and Worthy in motion, now all of a sudden he's out there catching those McKinnon passes. It's almost like, okay, our real offense is here. And who led them in routes run? It was Juju Smith-Schuster. Why? Because right now, he's just going to be stapled into the Rashee Rice role. Him over the middle, he catches that touchdown over the middle. And now I feel like their offense is actually set up the way they wanted it to be. And then it's just going to be Rice stepping directly in for Schuster. And then essentially everything you saw last week. Kelsey was getting better looks than he got all season. Got up to like 60 yards, which hasn't been easy for him to this point. I think they're about to take off. It's no coincidence. 4 touchdown passes. Now, I know it was against the Ravens, whose defense has been struggling immensely, but I like what I saw using multiple guys like Brashard Smith and Worthy stretching the field, creating space because like that's what it is. It's using these speed guys, using some misdirection, just to get it to Rashee Rice over the middle for 12 yards, where he turns up the field and is an incredible run after the catch guy. I think that's coming, and this offense is about to take off, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's crazy to me that the Chiefs are still plus 160 to win their division. Not that they're plus 160 because the Broncos are a good team. Obviously, the Chargers are plus 105. I don't know, man. I mean, if you asked me, you want the Chiefs at plus 160 to win the division or the Chargers at plus 105? I like this Chargers team, but give me the Chiefs all day long at plus 160.
Yeah.
Especially
The
once
problem
you get
is,
Rice back.
yeah, neither price is like,
No, it's not
neither price
great.
gets
I'm
people
just surprised.
excited.
Agreed. Yeah, I haven't bet it, but it's just like, I mean, I'll give you a better example of this would be, the Steelers are 3-1, Andy, and they're 3-1. The Ravens are 1-3. The Browns and the Bengals have no chance. The Bengals or the Ravens, sorry, are still minus 145 to win the division, and the Steelers are 3-1. So the Bengals have a worse record than the Chiefs. They're 1-3. The Steelers are 3-1, whereas the Chargers are 3-1, and the Chiefs are 2-2. Yet they're plus 155. I tend to think the Steelers are a paper tiger, but it's surprising that the Ravens are as big a favorite to win the division as they are.
So right now, I can take the Steelers to win the division at what?
Plus 170, and it looks like Lamar might be out a couple weeks.
I'm taking it.
You're going to do it?
I'm taking it because, yeah, and if I fall for it, I fall for it because you're talking about Lamar, who has a hamstring injury. What is the highest % chance of re-aggravation? That's a hamstring injury. This isn't the Ravens team from a couple years ago where they stayed in contention with backup quarterbacks because they had that defense.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be gunning on Henry right now. They don't have like a top 10 offensive line. There's literally nothing that suggests, unless Lamar truly takes over, and if he's playing through a balky hamstring, I mean, how old is Lamar now? Is he around 30? 28?
I want to say
something like that.
I want to say 28. I'm just guessing. I'll look it up.
Because the guy, I mean, he missed back-to-back years. Like, I understand he's kind of should have
28.
So he should have back-to-back MVPs. Yeah, but the year before that, he was out for the year. Year before that, he also got injured and was out for the year. So this is on the table. Many missed games for Lamar Jackson. 2 incredibly healthy MVP type years, but now that we have confirmation he has an injury, okay, this morning I read that Benson might miss 1 week. By 4 o'clock, it was he just had surgery, he's on the IR. Things tend to get a whole hell of a lot worse. So I'm down for that. I'm down for a little, on a week where I can't find much that I love. And I told you last year, I know everyone hates him now, and I don't like some of his, with the whole ayahuasca weirdness. I'm pulling for Rodgers a little bit. I'm pulling for him a little bit.
It's hard not to. Yeah, it's kind of hard not to pull for him.
He makes me laugh, man. That him just standing behind the tush push and just pointing after the first down, things like this. Him fumble. I don't know if you saw him run 12 yards for that first down. He fumbles it, is on the floor, sees that a Steeler recovered it, and just pumps his fist and over his head on the floor, points the other direction for a first down. You guys, you can enjoy Jackson Dart and you can enjoy the uploads of Madison Beer. Give me that old dad standing up there giving you those first down flicks. Go back to your bedroom, kids, and you guys go back to whatever dark part of the internet that you just crawled out of before you watch this, because that marks the end of week 5. Dave and Dan, thank you guys so much for coming back. I know last week I told you about can you add some credit karma to this? I finally saw what I was talking about. There's a new button. They claim it works. I believe nothing works. There's nothing you can do. You're screwed regardless. But there's a new hype button. So you can like something, which is very appreciated. You can comment, which is definitely appreciated. But there's apparently a hype button that you're allowed only so many per week. And when you click the hype button, it theoretically suggests this content to more viewers such as yourself. It's more likely to have the context spread. So if you can, click the hype button. Yep, I know now people, they used to say like, comment, subscribe, like donut bagel muffins at Dunkin' Donuts. Now they're adding a 4th. Donut, bagel, muffin, hype the video if possible. It's like a star. It's like a reading rainbow type emoji down below. Look for that. Some people don't have it, but if you do have it, help this video out because it will bring upon you that good sports betting karma. Dave, if there's anything you want to close out with before we go, always appreciate your time.
Yeah, I saw. I was looking for the hype button. Is it that? I'm gonna have to do some work and figure this one out. Anyway, yeah, I'll throw one more thing in. I think right now it's only on BetMGM. If they even allow you to bet there. Chuba Hubbard over 54.5 rushing yards against Miami this week. I'm not convinced Rico Dowdle is going to have as significant a role if this game is competitive, and I could see Chuba Hubbard clearing that number quite easily. We'll do a bit more into that. I was just poking around right now as we were doing the show. Chuba Hubbard over 54.5. I like it.
That's how we will leave you guys. We look forward to week 6. Hopefully we see some better quarterbacks on that slate. Hopefully fewer quarterbacks are calling themselves ass after yet another dismal performance. Regardless, we will break it down and review how those donkey charts went. We will be back with you next time. Take it easy and good luck this weekend.